Are you ready for this, Rose? Are you ready? Are you ready for the first podcast of 2026? No, you can stay there. It's okay. Hello, welcome back to the Knitweed Anxiety Podcast. My name is Marissa, and I'll be your host. If you're new, welcome. I'm so glad you freaking found me. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for all the comments and love and everything. Happy New Year, guys. This is the first episode of 2026. Holy crap. We made it. Yeah. Fuck 2025. I really hope 2026 is better. We'll see. I don't have so much to say about the new year. Spent the new year with my brother and my sister-in-law. That was about it. Didn't do shit. Yeah, that's happy freaking New Year, guys. We got the standard stuff. We got some FOs, some whips, some plans, some acquisitions, unfortunately. I've got some updates on what my plans are going to be, my goals, stuff like that. I briefly touched on goals in the last episode, but I kind of want to reiterate that and really kind of go into detail on that. And then at the end, like usual, we'll do the weight loss and anxiety check-in. And yeah, we'll see how this all goes. Before we get into anything, please go ahead and please like the video and leave me a comment if you found anything super interesting or if you had any questions. I would love to read them and respond. And just if you guys have any questions, literally any questions about literally anything, I'm pretty much an open book, much to many people's detriment. So, yeah, if you let me know in the comments what you think of everything and all that stuff. I'd love to engage with you guys in the comments. But let's get started. So, one of the first new things about 2026, I have a bucket. There's now a bucket. There is this very special designated bucket that is the podcast bucket. FOs that are mine, that are staying in my home, go in here. Yarns go in here. Future yarns to be used go in here. This is the designated podcast bucket. So, little preview. There are things in here. We have things to discuss. So get this big ass pile of color out. I think I want to put this over here. Back here. So you can kind of see it along with the dog. Maybe. I might put it over here where you can't see it. That works. That works. That spot works. And you can still see Rosie. There she is. Hi. You know I'm talking about you, don't you? Sorry, she's so distracting. She's so cute and distracting. I'm sorry, guys. Stare at the cuteness if you must. Look at his face. Are you passing judgment? I know. You just want to be loved. You just want to be loved. I know, baby. I know. We can keep snuggling under the blanket. She uses this blanket more than I do. This is ridiculous. It's her favorite spot when I work from home. She just lays here on the pillows in the blanket. And that's her happy spot. My pets are very spoiled, y'all. I think I've talked about this before. My pets are so spoiled. They love the handmade blankets. Yeah. But anyway, I'm digressing. Let's get into FOs. So, I did end up finishing one thing before the new year, and yeah, I finished one thing. So, what you saw as a whip in the very last episode, I don't have my blockers, but that's okay. I also I don't want to waste the time to try and deal with that anyway. So, not having blockers is totally fine. They're pretty already anyway. But I finished my Christmas socks. Finished my Christmas socks. I'm very, very happy that I finished those. That was the 9th pair for 2025 for me. The 9th pair for me in 2025. And these were done out of Knit Picks Felici in the color Buddy, and the heel, the contrast heel was done out of SockObsession Yarns Resiliant Smooth 4-ply sock in the Rosy Bold color, and I do that on a US 1 or 2.25mm needle. This next one was the first finish of 2026. Started it, technically speaking, on the 30th of December, finished it on the 1st, and it is a DK weight Musselburgh. And I'm very happy with this one. It turned out great. I'm super happy with how the colors ended up working up. I did some serious yarn management to avoid a bunch of pooling. I think it turned out fantastic. So this was done out of a very old stash yarn that I've had for years. The Fiber Seed Sprout DK in the color Violet Beauregard. And I did it on a US 8 or 5mm needle. Remember guys, I'm a tight knitter, so I always end up doing something like a much larger size than things call for. I can't remember off the top of my head what size I ended up doing. I think it was like 140 some stitches, I think. But I got the idea to do a DK weight version, and I did it helically from watching Knit All the Yarn. I watch so much. Like, she's become like my comfort podcast that I just watch in the background all the time. But she did a bunch of like DK weight Musselburghs towards the end of the year, and I was like, that's a great idea. And then it also struck me like, oh my god, I have all this fingering weight yarn, I could just hold it freaking double and just do that. So this was a DK weight that I did, and it was only 100 grams in total, which, well, spoiler for later in the video, but this like fits me pretty perfectly with minimal slouch, and it was only 100 grams, so it's like any 100-gram skein of sock weight yarn I have, I can turn into a DK weight Musselburgh now, which is really freaking cool. So, and why that didn't occur to me, I don't know. I also finally understood how to do the freaking the buttonhole cast on, or not buttonhole cast on, the fancy whatever cast on, whatever that's required. One of the cast ons you can use for a Musselburgh. I finally figured that out, and it looks way freaking better, so I'm much happier with that. But yeah, so that was finish number 1 for 2026. But so finish number 2 and number 1 of the series of these, another pair of socks. And these are Felici again, but this is the color Ribbon Candy. And the heel was done out of one of the minis in a set from Yarnaceous Fibers. It was like a leftovers kind of set that I got a couple years ago. And the set was called Gnaveen Spring. I think it was some kind of Princess and the Frog group or something. I'm not entirely sure. But I thought that the little light teal was a nice little pop against the kind of brighter, bold colors. So, and I think I mentioned it in the previous episode, but Exterminate on Instagram is doing a thing in 2026 called 26 pairs in 26. And it's essentially where you knit a sock per week, or ultimately a total of 26 pairs of socks within a year. So I am doing that. So this is pair number 1 for the 26 in pairs in 26. I'm very happy with them. They're very cute, and they are very, very comfy. And now that I've shown them to you, I can actually wear them. And my third finish for so far in the year, I actually don't have with me. I'll have to put a picture over here. It's called the Fuss Free Gradient Triangle Shawl by Alison Abbey. And I adapted it from its original sport weight into worsted weight, which is not complex. You just knit the shawl in whatever weight you want on whatever needle you want, and then you you just keep making it until it's as big as you want it to be. It's the whole shawl is supposed to be like 65 inches across the top. It's just a basic triangle shawl, and I'll put the pattern image over here as well as the finished product picture. It's just your very basic 90-degree, is it right angle triangle, I think. I can't remember geometry, guys. It's been too long. So I decided, and this is a tiny bit into the anxiety and life stuff, I decided I wanted to make my grandmother on my paternal side, on my dad's side, a shawl in a whole bunch of different colors, kind of like a prayer shawl kind of thing, I'm not a religious person and neither is she, but it was kind of the sentiment of, when you wear this, imagine it's me hugging you because you're going through a tough time. For context, my very beloved grandfather is essentially dying. He has really aggressive cancer and is not doing well, and it's going to leave my grandmother completely alone. And her, like, I felt it in my soul that I needed to do something and give her something so that she would feel the warmth and love of her family when she was alone and taking care of him in his last weeks and months. So I decided to pull a whole bunch of yarns from my stash and kind of put together this amalgamation of colors that I know she would like, because luckily her and I have very similar tastes in colors. We both love browns and blues and kind of cooler, warm, like not warm, but like those kind of calming earth tones. Those are the kind of things her and I both gravitate towards, and I happen to have not a butt ton, but I had quite a bit of yarn left over from my husband's blanket that I showed you guys last month, and a lot of those colors were the kind of thing that she would like. So I ended up using the kind of variegated color you're seeing in the striping is the Caron Jumbo prints in the color Country Basket, and then I also used I also used Lion Brand Pound of Love in the colors Oxford Gray, Cadet, and Chocolate, which you'll recall are the exact same colors I used in my husband's blanket. I used a very minimal of, like, we'll go over the grams and everything later, but I ended up not using very much of those colors. The majority of the shawl ended up being the Country Basket color, which worked out perfectly. It barely pooled because it's a garter stitch shawl. It barely pooled at all, and it just ended up being beautiful. When I gave it to her, it fit her. Like, my grandmother is a very small woman in comparison to me, like shorter and stature wise, like she's very, very small. And when she put it, like when I put it on, I think I only did it to the point where it was like 60 inches or so wide at the top. And when I put it on, I thought it was a good size. For her, it's perfection. It was the perfect size for her, and it immediately just draped wonderfully on her, and she loved it a lot. Like, it made her cry, which wasn't the goal, but the thought behind it was, kind of made her cry. But that was a well-received gift, and she really enjoyed it. And I did that on a US 9 or 5.5 millimeter needle. That's my standard when I do something in worsted weight. I don't typically do it on a US 8 like the yarn calls for, because I'm a tight knitter, as I've stated before. And then the final finish, or the fourth finish for 2026, to absolutely no one's surprise because of what I just reminded you about with the other pair, I finished another pair of socks. I finished another one, guys. Another pair. That's 2 pairs for the 26 pairs in 2026 challenge that I'm doing. That lighting is freaking great. Oh my goodness. Thank you, ring light. So these are Knitpicks Felici in the color Bonfire, and the contrast heel is the SockObsession Yarns Resiliant Smooth Sock 4-ply in the color Witchy, which you guys saw me get a couple months ago. And the really funny story about these, I asked my husband, because whenever I have a problem like picking colors, I defer to my color blind husband. I don't know why, I just do. Probably because I trust him. Even though he can't really see the color, he will just kind of pull a color out of nowhere and just be like, go do this. And it's like, okay, cool. But I asked him when I finished the ribbon candy socks, I asked him what color should I do next. Because I have, like, I'm planning to do 26 pairs of socks this year, potentially more, depending on if I do gifts and stuff. But I knew what color I wanted to do initially in the year because of my previous plan. But then I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. So I asked him, I'm like, what color should I do? And he's like, you should do something with yellow. And I'm like, okay. So I pulled out a couple different colors of yarn that have yellow in them, and he picked these ones. And there's yellow in it. There is definitely freaking yellow in it. But yeah, these are fun. They're very bright. The yellow and the orange is very bright in comparison to what I normally do, so, but they're fun. They're very fun, and they're Felici, so they're super comfortable. And now I can wash them, and then I can wear them, which will be great. Okay, now on to whips. I did talk about this when we last spoke. I'm gonna move my little marker here real quick. So all of these things I started after the new year. So I ended the year with no whips and started the year with brand new whips. Because I'm a crazy person. But so this is my Pembroke scarf by Elizabeth McCarten. And it's one of those like on the bias kind of triangles. So it started down here and it keeps on biasing, and this is where I'm currently at. And it's just a garter. It's a basic garter stitch. And I am doing this with Rose Hill Yarns Merino Singles in the color Silly Pansies on a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needle. This is one of my elder stash, if you will, colors or yarns, and I've been trying to find something to do with it forever. And this happens to fit the bill, and it's really, really basic. There's only a couple stitches that I have to really, or a couple times I have to really be mindful of anything. It's really good. It's really good, a really good project for when I'm reading at night. I'll set myself up in my little special pillow and I'll knit and read my Kindle while I'm doing that. And it works out just fine. And there's the yarn. So you guys can see that. This is blues and purples. Very me. This is I think the second and only single ply left in my stash. I don't do single ply, guys. I just really don't. This is literally the only one left. This is the only single ply left in my stash. I avoid single ply most of the time. But yeah, that one's going really well. That one I don't expect to be done like in the next month. I really don't. It might be done like in March. It's just kind of in the background when I go to bed. I don't touch it otherwise. It literally lives on the floor beside my bed. It doesn't go anywhere. There's that one. And then, you're fine. You're okay. This next one is actually kind of shocking how much of it I got done. So I think I mentioned it in the last episode. I hope I did. Maybe. I had kind of had this thing in the back of my head about doing some form of a jelly roll blanket again. And I've also been really like thinking a lot about temperature blankets in the last few weeks. I don't know why. Like all of December, I just could not get temperature blankets out of my head. Probably because of the whole new year and all that crapola. A lot of people start temperature blankets at the beginning of the year, and I have never personally been able to successfully do one, especially not one that's rainbow. Because despite like how I have my yarn organized, I don't personally like to have rainbows in my home. I'm just not a rainbow person. It doesn't match my aesthetic. My husband and I's aesthetic is very cool and oceanic, if you will. It's a lot of like, it's nature and oceans pretty much. It's very tranquil blues, teals, like 4 shades of gray and like creams and sage, things like that. So I had it in my head that I had a whole bag of yarn that I had originally purchased to do a form of a first year as a homeowner blanket. So I don't know if you guys know the what is it, like the traveling Afghan, I think the 2 of Wands traveling Afghan thing that went on a couple of years ago. I don't know if she's still doing it, but I wanted to do the knit version of that, and I attempted to do a couple of squares in the color palette that I had purchased when we first moved into this house, and I think I got maybe 6 squares done, 6 of like 20 or something, and I burned out on it because there was no gauge consistency between all of the squares that were designed, and some of them I really fucking hated. There were some I was just like, this is god awful. This is awful. I hate this. So what I got in my head was, why not do a jelly roll blanket and do each strip wide enough that I can do 1 strip is a year. So I only need and do a 5 years in the house blanket. So I did. I completed the first strip. And granted, because of how Jelly Roll works, I had to do it backwards. So I think I spent an entire day on my vacation. I spent like 4 hours collecting a bunch of temperature data. And I then like messing with the ranges of the colors and what colors are what and all that. So, and because of Jelly Roll, you have to start at the bottom up. So I actually had to work from December of 2021 all the way back to December of 2020 when we first moved into the house. So this is actually the end of 2021. And I used a gray to separate each month and to kind of cap off the edges. And my plan is that once it's all done, I'm going to either, I'll probably on the two edges, I'll probably pick up along the edges and do a few rows in the gray so that I have that same width. Kind of like you would with a log cabin blanket, because I just did that with my husband's blanket, so it's not going to be too strange. And then at that point, go and do a I-cord all the way around. A lot of extra like ending work, but it's just, that's how my brain works, is I need it to be as pristine and beautiful as possible. It has to be. I know it'll have little mistakes, but that's fine. But yeah, so I did this entire strip. You're not going to really see it, I don't think. There you go. I did the whole strip in like a week and a half. And I think if I drape it over my foot, it comes to like right here, which is a good like snuggle blanket size. Plus it's also garter stitch, it'll stretch. I'm not really worried about it. And there's also a lot of yarn in here that's like in ramen noodle mode. Because I tore apart my swatches and the squares I had previously made, so there's a lot of ramen noodles, and those don't look pretty or anything. So I'm sure that once I actually wash it and those plump up and stretch and everything, it'll be better. And once I've used those yarns and be like beyond where the yarns were used for prior things, it'll be even better. But so my current plan with this is that I'm going to try to get it back in the bag. I'm going to try and complete a strip every month if I can. I'm not going to be upset with myself if I can't. It's okay if I don't. This could potentially be an all-year project. I don't know. I would like for it to be done the first half of the year, just so I can get it off my needles and be done with it, and pull all that yarn out of my stash, because it's going to use a lot of yarn. But I think it's doable to do one strip a month. I really think it is, considering it didn't take me many, like, if I pull up my tracker, let me look here. So that one strip took me like 13 hours of time. Like, according to my little tracker, it took me 13 hours. So I know I can do it if I like dedicate a weekend to it, or just dedicate a couple hours every night for a couple of weeks. I think I can totally do it. Like this could likely end up staying on my sofa, and this could be my nighttime after dinner and all that knitting. That could just be my focus, is this. Which it very likely will become that. And I also kind of like you guys could see from the color palette, it's very me. It's shades of blue and gray and cream, and it very much matches the entire palette of my house, and the colors my husband and I like. So I think it'll look good on one of our sofas. And then also I get yarn out of my stash. Like, I'm literally not, my hope is I don't have to buy any yarn for this. I'm really hoping I don't have to buy any. So that is that. And I'm gonna pull up. I have the entire, let me see here, where is it? I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, like actually visually see it, because of how weird phones are, or recordings are about screens. But I have this massive spreadsheet that is just every year. And I have columns, and I've got all kinds of stuff. I went through and spent hours and hours breaking down, like making sure I had an even distribution of every single color. So like the range of my temperatures is very strange because I wanted to have around 30 to 40 entries or days or weeks, I should say. That's the other thing I didn't mention. I'm doing this based on I think it was the average high of each week. I'm not doing a daily for each year. I'm doing the average high of each week. So I did have to go through and like pull all that data from a website. I think it was like Wonderground or something like that. I think I'll link it below. I probably will. And I had to go through and then like use the Excel sheet to kind of color code and see what the distribution was going to look like for the colors. And if I didn't like how many of each there were, because I wanted to be kind of even, I went through and messed with my ranges of my temperatures and stuff. So like I've got 46 to 49 degrees, and then 50 to 55, and then 56 to 61, 62 to 67, 68 to 73, and then 74 degrees and up, and then 45 degrees and under, because I want it to be as even as possible, like within within 15 entries or weeks amongst everything. So I think I did good. It was really painstaking to go through and do all of that, but it was a benefit of doing years past with my temperature blanket, because it allows me to go pull all that data and then work on this as I please. So that is the 5 years a homeowner temperature blanket, and that is living in my all knit up designs bag until it's too big, which will likely be when I add to it next. And then the final whip, actually, wow, I did a lot today while I was waiting for that bread. My final whip is another DK weight Musselburgh. This time, this is done out of a fingering weight held double. And you can see by the little marker here, I did all of that today. I'm embarking on my first sourdough journey, guys, and it's I had to stay by the proofer, so I was there all that today. And despite my best efforts, I'm literally holding the yarn doubled from the outside and the inside of the ball, and despite my best efforts, it's still pooling. But you know what? Who the hell cares? I may keep this, I may not. I don't know. So it might go in my donate pile. I don't know. But this is the current state of my Musselburgh. And it's fun. Like the way the colors are pooling is fun. Because doing the little like kind of swirliness of like swirly but also not so swirly. It was really speckly on the top, and then it went swirl when I started doing the round, which is pretty standard for a not pooled, but for variegated, I guess, or color blocked yarn. I don't freaking know what it's called. Whatever yarn it is that when it's in a hank, there's like spatterings of color in certain spots. I think that's a variegated. I don't know. I'm not a dyer. I don't know the techniques. I don't know. But this is the SockObsession yarns merino cashmere nylon in the color Normal is Boring. And I'm using a US 7 or 4.5 millimeter needle. And this is actually like my walking pad knitting. What I've started doing is I've started going to I'll get back from running an errand or something when I work from home, and I'll actually like keep this by my walking pad and walk and knit at the same time. And this is super basic, so I don't have to worry about falling. Okay, now we're gonna talk about future cast-ons and attack plans, as I'm calling them. So this little section is just kind of like what I'm planning to do, what my next pair of socks, things like that. What I hope to accomplish in the next month is accomplishments and plans or goals for the month kind of thing. So first thing is obviously my first pair of socks for February, or pair number 3 in the 26 pairs in 26. So I have, since it is going to be February, that means it must be Valentine's Day yarn, obviously. So I will be pulling out the Felici Swack, or Sealed with a Knit color. And I'm going to attempt to do something I've never done for myself. I'm going to try and knit a pair of socks out of one ball, because I want to save the other ball and make my mom a pair of socks to match. So I am going to do the heel, toe, and cuff in this shade of Cascade Heritage, which is just silver gray with this color. So I have a nice little contrast, because I don't like the white creaminess like my mom does. So I'm going to do the gray, try and do a pair out of just one ball. I honestly think what will likely happen is I'll just knit from the 2 balls and then use the rest of it to make my mom some, but then just do these as a contrast for everything, so that it leaves like hopefully 25 grams of each of these left, which should be enough. I think I'm doing all of this, I'm basing all this math on like the fact that typically when I do a Felici pair of socks for myself, I use about 60 grams total. And then when I do socks for my mom, it's around 40 grams of the main color. So I'm hoping that between the 2, there will be enough. I'm hoping. Really, really hoping. So that's the only yarn I have plans to work with that I have my hands on. I obviously, because I will only post once a month, I will do another pair for the 26 pairs in 26. I don't know what color yet. I will likely ask my husband's opinion on that one as well. So yeah, I will do for pair number 4 for the 26 pairs in 2026. Will be some unknown color. I don't know yet. I don't know if it'll be a Felici. I don't know if it'll be one of my other self-stripings or some other random color. It could be a pair of my husband's designated colors. I don't know yet. That is something that I will just gotta figure out when I get there. I plan to do one more strip or try and do a strip in the homeowner blanket. And then I am considering starting another blanket. So I have it I've got a corner to corner, a super bulky garter corner to corner. I've got all this sea glass plus some new yarn I'll show you in a bit that I really want to do one of those in. And then I also have the Galaxy yarn that I want to hold with a gray and do a Irish moss. I always want to say Irish mosh. And do an Irish moss blanket with that too. So those are kind of in my head right now, is those 2 blankets. But I also I don't know if I want to put another blanket on my plate until I maybe get something else off of it. Like maybe I could do another blanket if I get the Pembroke shawl done, and also the Musselburgh. Like Musselburgh could probably be freaking done tomorrow, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's that. Those are the future plans, the attack plan. Let me think here for a momento. Okay, so before we get into acquisitions and stash changes, I want to go over, or more so kind of tell you guys about what I'm doing here. So I pulled up my tablet, and so after last year, not only did I end the year with a positive stash acquisitions, I was not in the negative, and that actually really irked me. because I think especially as I become better at picking the kind of yarns and picking the fiber contents and picking the colors that I actually want to use in my collection, and actually the things I want to use and wear, and as I'm refining my taste, so to speak, it really bothered me that I was not in the negative. Like, it really, really bothered me. So what I have decided is that I want to better track what comes in and what goes out, including the spending part. So, and once again, Knit All the Yarn podcast, I watch her, follow her, all these things. She's linked below because I enjoy her stuff. And her husband made her a spreadsheet for tracking her spending and tracking her grams and tracking her inventory. And as a spreadsheet person, like my last job, I literally got it because of my spreadsheet skills. I was like, okay, I can do that. I can make myself a freaking spreadsheet for tracking stuff. So I went and investigated her highlight on Instagram for her stash tracking and all that, and grams in and whatnot. And I kind of took the things she had put in, and I made my own version. It's very minimal. Like, its actual design is pretty close to what she did. I just added in columns for tracking the projects and then the yarns, so that I have a much better idea of like what exact projects have come in or come out, and what the grams are and whatnot. It's like, especially like the whole idea is that to track this on the spreadsheet, so that when I go to write my show notes, I know what's going on. I know Lisa of Knit All the Yarn podcast, she writes all her stuff down in a notebook. I don't want to do that. The notebook is reserved specifically for my show notes. I am more of a digital tracker. Like, there's a reason that my Ravelry is always up to date. Like, I am digital. I'm pretty freaking digital on almost everything, with the exception of very few things. So I decided to kind of take the concepts that she had and I put them into my own digital world. So I now have a spreadsheet that, and I'm not going to show you purely because there's costs on it. I'm not going to show you, not going to actually like show you. But I've got like a column for every month, and then purchases, grams in, grams out, net grams, a row that does an average of all of them, and then it's total for the year. And then I added on projects completed, so what the project is and how many grams was out. And then I also have a yarns in, so there's also what was the yarn and how many grams came in. And I'm following the rule of, if I bought it in the month, like if the money was spent in the month, it goes into the purchases column. But it does not count as grams in until it physically arrives at my house. So I spent money on the 1st to sign up for a Yarn of the Month club, but that yarn hasn't arrived yet. So I'm counting counting the purchase because I paid for it, but I'm not counting the yarn in until it physically arrives at my house. And then same thing with grams out. I'm not counting the grams out until the project is freaking finished. If the project isn't finished, it doesn't count. The grams still exist. They're still there. So my hope is that by doing this, it'll actually make it a lot easier for me to track, like especially the end of this year, looking back and like, okay, looking month to month, looking at the averages and looking at all these numbers, so that I have a better idea of what kind of money I'm spending and how much I'm actually producing or how much I'm actually making, to kind of see like, what's my not ROI, but kind of ROI, not for like limiting purposes, or like I'm like my husband's not telling me not to buy yarn or anything like that, and I'm, as I said in my last video, I'm also allowing myself to participate in Yarn of the Month clubs in hopes that by getting that little sprinkle of a skein or two every month, it will prevent me from going on a binge. Sorry if that's a triggering word. Oh my god. Okay. But I'm hoping it'll help prevent me from overbuying, over-consuming, and Like going out to a shop and buying up a whole bunch of yarn because it's a once in a quarter thing. Or like going to, like, I totally plan on going to the Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival again next year. And I bought a lot of yarn there last year. I did. I spent so much freaking money, and it's going to take me a while to get to those yarns. I know it's going to. And while I'm planning on knitting those from my stash almost exclusively throughout the year, I don't want to do that whole lots of purchases in one day multiple times throughout the year. I'd rather save it for just OFFF if I can, and the maybe a yarn shop for my birthday, maybe. Although honestly, I don't think I'm gonna need to. Like, I have like, I'm really trying to minimize my purchases as much as possible and only buy things I know I'm actually going to use. And like, I want to knit my queue up. I don't want to be down to 0. Absolutely not. Fuck no. That would be so discouraging and make me so sad as a creative person. But I do want to, I have all these beautiful yarns. Like, I have spent last few years really curating what is in my stash, and I want to use it. I don't want to just sit here. Like, it's just sitting here collecting dust. And granted, there are quantities of yarn in here that are like sweater quantities, and I'm like, I don't want to touch them yet because I'm not where I want to be with my weight and everything. But I'm not like telling myself, no, you can't knit that project if I really, really want the damn thing. Like, if I want the damn thing, I'm just going to size it down a size or two, because I will get there eventually. And even if it's not super comfortable now, it's yarn, it'll stretch. Like, it's knit fabric, it'll stretch. So, but anyway, tirade over. Yeah, I'm keeping track of everything here so I can put it into my show notes and have it for the end of the year. All that to say, only since last episode, 2 yarns have come in. Only 2. Granted, one of them was really big. I guess I'll get that out now. Hi, Rose. So this came in before the end of the year. So this is the only reason I'm showing it is because since the last episode it came in. Everything going forward will be just this year. But I got a, like, thanks for all your hard work. Here's a little gift from the company I work for. I got a gift card, just a regular old gift card. So I'm like, okay. And one day I was scrolling Instagram and an ad at Michael's came up, and I saw a yarn that I was like, ugh, I have to have that. So I ordered it, and it got lost. I ordered it in like early December, and it got lost. It never showed up. So I ended up having to call their customer service, which was not a great experience. It took forever to get through. And as someone who doesn't like to call, it was really kind of meh. But I called them and told them, like, hey, there's no movement on the tracker. Did it get stuck? And like, did it not leave your facility? What in the hell happened? Like, I would really like this yarn. I don't want a refund. I really want the yarn. Like, I really do. And they're like, okay, cool. We'll send you a new one. So I got the new box. And it's pretty. So I got 5 balls of the Caron Slice of Anniversary cake in the color Book Club. I did not do the anniversary cake because I'm not a fan of the color blocking of the anniversary cakes, but this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is one of those yarns that I want to do the garter corner to corner blanket in. Like, I have this and the sea glass. Like, that's the only super bulky in my stash, and that's specifically meant for blankets. But I have enough yardage between the 5 balls of this to do a blanket of the size that I want. And I'm very, very excited about that. I really, really want to do that. And it's soft. Even though it's 100% acrylic, it's very soft. I'm very happy with this. So, this may become a thing in the next month. Maybe. I don't know yet. Possibly. It will be a thing someday. Hopefully soon. So that was 1,250 grams in. Oh, ouch. That hurt. That hurt. And then, my My Christmas socks. Oh my god, what's going on here? My Christmas socks were only 71 grams out. So at the end of 2025, I was positive. At the end of, I was a positive 1,179 grams. Not great. And then for 2026, the first Yarn of the Month Club came in. This is the Hava Some Yarn, and Hava as in H-A-V-A, V as in Victor. Hava Some Yarn. And this is the January's Promise color, and I did her sock set on her Mushu base. I'm trying to get that in the middle there. There we go. So it's purple, green, yellow, and this really nice contrasty brown. I think the reference photo that she posted for this when she put it up, was like a field of flowers, I think, which is where like the yellow and the green is coming from. Admittedly, when I first opened it, I was like, like, I'm not sure how this is gonna work up, but I don't know. We'll see. Like, I mean, at this point, I'm just kind of collecting her Yarn of the Months, and we'll see what I do with them from there. But this was 120 grams in. And then between the Musselburgh, both pairs of socks, and the fuss-free Gradient Shawl, there was 411 grams out of my stash. So in total, was it 411? I don't know. No. In January alone, I was negative 411 grams. I don't have the total for the whole month, which doesn't really matter. So since last episode, I am positive 768 grams, which is fine. That's fine. More grams will go out as things get completed. It'll be fine. Yeah. So not a super great start to the whole year because of the book club yarn, but in terms of the whole month itself, being in a negative is great. So if I didn't count everything from 2025, it'd be fine. That's fine. Whatever. I think that's all the yarny stuff I want to talk about. So I guess content warning, we're now moving into the weight loss and anxiety stuff. That ain't your jam. I'll see you next time, guys. Laters. Thank you for sticking around this long. So anxiety has not been super bad. A lot more stress. Just like I was on vacation for 2.5 weeks, and the first week back was really stressful. The person who was supposed to be covering me didn't really cover me in a full capacity I was hoping for, so I was like essentially a week and a half behind for a week. I'm pretty caught up now, so it should be like this coming week should be fine. Anything about I am a tiny bit anxious about something really silly. I mentioned earlier I'm embarking on my first sourdough journey. I spent the last few weeks getting a starter going, and as I speak, my dough is in its bulk fermentation phase. So hopefully in the next 2 hours I'll be able to shape it and then cold proof it. So that's happening, guys. I'm really, really hopeful. I really hope it goes good. I really hope it does. Everything seems to be going okay. Like, it looks like I'm developing good gluten structure, and there's bubbles everywhere, so I hope it goes good. I hope it does. Like, it'd be really nice if I could actually, do sourdough. But yeah, I would love to be able to do, sourdough pretzels and shit. Oh, make me so happy if I could do that. And also, just sourdough is so good for your gut biome and everything, and I don't know. It is a new hobby for me. My family calls me the bread girl. I do all the bread for family holidays and stuff, and I'm the focaccia girl, but that's all done with instant yeast. It's not done with sourdough. So sourdough is the next step in my bread evolution, and it is daunting, y'all. It is daunting. I am scared. I am nervous. I do not want to end up with a gummy loaf. I'm really worried about a gummy loaf, y'all. I'm really worried. But I know my first loaf is gonna be, it'll likely be subpar. I don't want it to be subpar. I'm manifesting a really good loaf. But I know it's not going to be like this freaking tall with a fuck ton of bubbles, and I'm just hoping for an even structure and not to be dense in the center. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping it's not dense. I'm hoping it actually rises and does okay. So we'll see. So wish me luck on that. Wish me luck. As for the weight loss stuff. Okay, this is where... Okay. For the weight loss stuff. And as I always have, I will give you numbers. So my starting weight January 1st was 252 pounds, 252.8 pounds. That was my starting weight on the very first of this year. My lowest since then is 250.1. I am down 2.7 pounds. How did I do that? I started exercising again. I started going to the gym again. I have, as of today, I think been going consistently for 3 weeks. Let me check. Let me look at the calendar. Yes. As of today, I have consistently gone to the gym for 3 straight weeks. 3 days a week, each week. Like, I was supposed to go to the gym yesterday. I did not have the time because I have a lot of fucking errands I had to run. So I decided, well, during the start of bulk fermentation, I was going to go to the gym today. And I did. Like, as soon as my dough was in bulk fermentation in the proofer mode, I was like, okay, let's go get dressed. We're going to go to the freaking gym. And I did. And so that's 3 days a week, consistently for 3 weeks. I've also started to do a thing on my work from home days where I will, I start work at 7 a.m. so, or like 10 minutes before then, so I'm off the clock by 4 o'clock. And I found, I know I keep changing it up, guys, but I'm trying to find a way to make it so that my brain wants to keep doing it. Because I'm feeling reinvigorated. Like I don't know if it's a new year. I don't know if it's because I want to see things move and I want to be strong. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I saw my nutritionist again a couple weeks ago, and it's like, I feel like reinvigorated about this whole journey. Which is normal. It's okay to go through a slump and be in a bad place and then reinvigorate. As long as you don't stop trying, you haven't quit, you haven't failed, which is a big fucking thing for me to know I haven't failed. So I decided that I was going to do this weird little brain trick. So, 1, I have a walking pad now. I have had a walking pad for a couple months. I'm not going to do cardio at the gym anymore. If I want to do cardio, I can either walk outside, unless it's fucking cold, and in which case, I can do it on my walking pad. Like, my husband and I rearranged things downstairs, so I have access to my walking pad every freaking day. It's set up. I don't have to move it, nothing. I just get on it, click the button, and go. So I have that now, and so I'm doing that after the gym. That's my plan is 45 minutes each, 3 days a week minimum. So I do my time at the gym. I go to the gym at 4 o'clock when it's like kind of quiet at my gym, and I go immediately into stretching and strength training. I don't do any cardio at the gym. I do the strength training, and once the strength training is done, I go home, and on days I'm staying at home, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Friday right now. Those days I pretty much immediately get on the walking pad and walk for 20 to 30 minutes. I just at the gate. So I'm immediately getting like over an hour of activity every day, or 3 times a week minimum. And any other days I can get on the walking pad for 30 or so minutes to try and hit a higher step goal. Because I want to try and hit that 10K, because that's going to be really helpful for the NEAT and all that. So there's that. So I've been doing that consistently for the last 3 weeks. Like, consistently, Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Like, even when I was on vacation. I started, like, I literally was off the first full week of January. And I started doing this on the 2nd of January. Like, I went on that Friday at 4 p.m. thinking and trying to program myself to be like, okay, this is how it's going to be when you're in your normal work schedule. Go at the time you would if you were going to work. And I did. And I consistently did it. And there was something about, I think I kind of had this realization when I started doing it on Friday and then the following Monday and Tuesday before I saw my nutritionist on that Wednesday. I made the little discovery that if I don't give myself the opportunity to watch people for an extended period of time before I get to my own training, before I get to my own strength training, I can do it and I don't get anxious. I don't feel like I need, or I, for the most part, do not feel like I don't want to be there, like I want to run out. There's something for me psychologically about the getting on the treadmill and having the opportunity to watch people. There's something about that just gets in my head and triggers a lot of anxiety for me. So I did the experiment the first 3 days. I went to the gym. I went straight into strength training. I did not freaking talk to, I don't never talk to anybody, but I went straight into the training and did not do any cardio, and that worked. I had like hat on, had earphone or earbuds, and just block the fuck in pretty much. And that seems to work really fucking well. And doing that consistently for 3 weeks, my mood is so good. Like on the days, like I went to the office this past week, and I, like Wednesday and Thursday, the days I was in the office, I was so goddamn tired. I was like, thank God I'm not going to the gym right now. I'm so tired. But I also at the same time was like, part of me almost wished I was, because I'm like, I've been going 3 weeks and I'm already starting to set new PRs, or personal records. I'm already starting to see muscles pop out in ways that they weren't previously because I'm working them again. I'm like feeling less pain in certain parts of my body. I'm able to move better. Like that great example, I went down to see my grandparents with my dad, and we had to put some wood in his truck, in the back of his truck. And what a year ago, like 2 or so years ago, would have been a near impossible like movement for me, of putting my foot up on the foot of on the tailgate and jumping up, that would have been so laborious, so hard for me to do a couple years ago. I was able to do it as if it didn't, like it was nothing. And I think that's because I'm a total of 40 pounds down in the last year and a half. But also on top of that, I'm moving more, so my body and my joints are better. And I made the comment to my dad, because my dad's gone through the whole weight loss thing before, and he's done it, and he's lost the weight, so he moves better now too. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe how easy that was. It was so easy to just go whoop. And he was like, yeah, it's kind of shocking how much easier shit is when you're not fucking a massive amount of weight. When you're not nearly 300, 400, 500 pounds. It's way fucking easier when you're not heavy. I was like, yeah, it's kind of fucking nuts. Like, just boop, 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 boop. It was really easy to move. Like, I was able to lift my leg just fine without having to, like, physically use my arm to move my leg and shit like that. And so it's like I'm feeling all of that, and on top of that, I'm also getting the benefit of the testosterone, like the increase in testosterone because of the muscle building. So fun fact, building muscle increases your testosterone production in your body. So if you've ever had an increase in drive, if you go through this, there's a major spike in drive, because you're building all that muscle, and the muscle creates the testosterone, and testosterone is the drive hormone. And when you're, and this is the other thing I learned thanks to my dad, when you are larger and you have fat on your body, you have all this fat on your body, that fat stores excess estrogen, and estrogen will win out over testosterone every time. So if you can increase your testosterone by building muscle, it'll not only have your body burning that fat off for fuel, but then it'll also increase your testosterone levels and increase your drive and kind of counteract the estrogen. Because oddly enough, it's actually encouraging him to start moving more and to start doing things so that he can increase and feel better too. Increase both the hormones, but also just how he feels in general. Because in the last month, I have just felt this insane amount of confidence and strength, and just I feel so much more clear-headed, and like I don't feel like a nut job, and it's like I had a whole freaking period and didn't feel like a nut job like at all. Like I had a couple of moments where I was like, I feel really crazy because I can't control why I'm upset, but I didn't feel like PMDD kind of level crazy, which was really fucking nice, because that's the last year or so, every freaking cycle was not good. So there's that, and I also made the decision to get myself a couple pieces of new workout clothing. I got damn Instagram ads keep getting me. But I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw an ad for, I think the website's called Iron Panda. So right at the bat, my panda loving ass was, Iron Panda, what's Iron Panda? But then I saw it was a sweatshirt that on the back of it says, "Let's do this before my anxiety kicks in." And I was like, I might need that. And don't get me wrong, I stewed on it. Like this is the only other things I'm trying to do this year is I'm trying to stew on things before I purchase them. So I really determine, is this an impulse buy or do I actually need and or want this? And this was one of those. I stewed on it for like a week and a half, maybe even longer. And so I went and so I'm like, okay, okay, no, I do want this sweatshirt. I want to buy this sweatshirt. So I ended up going on their website and I found a shirt. And this shirt is the greatest thing in the world. And it perfectly encapsulates how I'm feeling with this invigoration. Like how, like the best way to describe how invigorated I'm feeling. The shirt literally says, I don't want to be skinny. I want to look like I could kick your ass. And that's pretty much how I feel. That's pretty much how I feel right now, is I don't want to be skinny. I have no dream of being skinny by any fucking means. I want to be strong. I want to be so fucking strong that you don't want to fuck with me. Like, I do not... And, like, this whole new wave of skinny that's coming, the Ozempic skinny, and this new wave of skinniness is going through Hollywood again. Like, fuck that. Like, full on, fuck that. No. Like, I am 100% with the, like, strong girls club, like weightlifting girls club. Like, no, I'm not doing the skinny thing. I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not. I think despite how shitty my mental health was the past year, I spent the last year really reprogramming how I look at myself and the world and my body and food, and I spent a lot of time deprogramming a lot of the bullshit that I was fed as not only a woman but also as a child. Like, obviously, like, women who are watching, you know what we're programmed, especially in the States, like, take care of everyone else, be like, don't be too loud, like, minimize yourself, be apologetic and serve everybody else, and all these things. And some people, that's how they roll. Some people, that's how they want to operate. I operated like that to the extreme for so long that I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know how to set boundaries. I didn't know how to have a conversation with people. I didn't know how to do a lot of things because I was just so minimizing. And I have come to realize I am not a small person, both in size and personality. I'm not. I'm fucking half Italian, man. Not half Italian, but I'm Italian. I'm loud. I'm boisterous. And I am very fucking passionate. When I am passionate, I get loud. You don't fucking like it? Fuck you. So I kind of been going through this whole thing in the last few months, like since I kind of came out of that really bad depressive episode, where I'm like, I don't want to shrink myself anymore. I don't fucking care if people get upset with me. Like, I'm really taking on I'm not responsible for your feelings. I can apologize for making you feel like that, but I'm not responsible for how you deal with what I say. Like, if you have a problem with what I've said, you need to come talk to me and have a conversation with me, so I can understand and potentially not say that kind of thing again. Or maybe you misunderstood me and you need to be fucking corrected. So I'm like going through this whole recovering people pleaser thing. And like I'm calling people on their crap and trying to be more honest while also not sharing everything with everyone. And like I'm learning how to have relationships with people and family members that are like appropriate for where they are within my circle and all that. And it's add on the confidence I'm gaining from working out again and taking care of myself. And like I'm working with my nutritionist and we're working on increasing the fiber and the vegetables and fruits, and we're increasing how much I'm cooking at home. Like I'm actually cooking at home again, because the last few months and the last year have not been super great with that. But like I'm increasing how much I'm cooking. I went to Costco yesterday and spent so much fucking money. But, mind you, I spent so much fucking money, but my plan is to literally only go to Costco once every 6 weeks. 6 weeks. So I'm feeding 2 people for 6 weeks on like $100 a week, pretty much. About, I think my calculation's right. But yeah, and like we're trying to, like, my husband and I went through, we like changed a whole bunch of them, like canceled a whole bunch of freaking memberships for food deliveries, and it's like, if we really want that thing, if we are craving that thing that goddamn bad, are we craving it bad enough to go and drive and get it ourselves? If not, then we don't get to have the thing. Like, we're doing all these things, it's like we can't afford to do that anymore. We can't afford to be going out 4 or 5 nights a week. We just can't. So it's like the state of the world, but also just general not wanting to feel like crap anymore. And there's just I'm feeling so much better. Like, working out feels really good, and like seeing the gains, and I think this is one of the benefits of having been sort of on this journey for as long as I have at this point, is that I kind of get to semi-bypass the whole give it a few weeks to a month plus, and then you'll start to see results, because I'm already kind of there. I'm already closer to the see results stage than people who start it brand new. So I'm able to see things way faster. Like, I'm able to see more definition in my arms. I'm able to see definition in my legs now. I'm starting to see it in my back and my lats. Like, I'm seeing it in my calves. Like, I'm seeing it in my butt. Like, I'm seeing it in all these places. And like, because I've changed my routine and I didn't even freaking get to this part. I started doing this thing. I started doing so many things. My God, I'm gonna have to cut out so much of this. I jump around so much, guys. I'm so sorry. I started doing this thing with my actual in the gym routine, where in order to avoid boredom, I only go to the gym 3 days a week, as I've said. But I rotate a 4-day plan that my brother built for me. So I restarted. I've gone back to the original 4-day plan that he gave me, which is fine. I needed to reconnect, do the mind muscle reconnection, all that stuff, and make sure I'm doing things properly, not hurting myself. And kind of build up to where I was before I switched back to the other plan. But what I did was I started going back to the gym on a Friday. I started that with the Monday plan that I had written. And the intention is that regardless of which of the 3 days of the week or whatever day of the week I'm going to the gym, I'm doing the next day in that plan cycle. So even if it's a Monday, I could be doing the Thursday, Tuesday, or Friday plan. Like, it doesn't matter. And the purpose of this is to make sure I'm not getting in a week by week, same rut. To keep things interesting and not have a day where it's like, oh, it's Tuesday, that means I have to do arms. Damn, I hate doing that. Because that's what happened last time, is I went through it for a couple of weeks and it got really boring because I was doing the same thing every fucking week. By doing the 4-day rotation on 3 days, it's helping me to stay kind of on my toes and not get bored. So, like, yesterday I was supposed to go to the gym. I didn't, because I spent an hour and a half at Costco, did a whole lot of walking and lifting, and I was fucking tired. I had so many things. I had a really busy day. So when I did started my bulk fermentation of my sourdough today, I went to the gym, and according to my app that I use, it was actually a Tuesday in terms of what day in the cycle I was doing. So I did the Tuesday plan. Monday when I go in, I'll do the Thursday plan. Tuesday when I go in, I'll do the Friday plan, and so on and so forth. And the days will never line up. They'll line up for 1 or 2 days every few weeks, but that's it. And I'm really hoping that this allows me to have that kind of inconsistency and the newness, so that I can keep at it and keep going and not get bored. Coupling that with doing my cardio at home and not giving myself the opportunity to psych myself out, I'm hoping that those things will help. And then the nutrition side of things, I'm cooking way more at home. I've got a whole bunch of things in my house now that are going to be good for me and my husband. Him and I are working on ways to help him, like, tailor his nutrition so he's getting, because he has ADHD, as I said before, and like, we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we get 30 grams of protein minimum into you as early in the day as possible, because protein is really good for an ADHD brain and really helps with their functioning. I'm also trying to figure out how his schedule with working and driving to the office every day will work with maybe going to the gym. We're trying to do walks together so that he gets some activity. We're trying a whole bunch of things to try and get him on the same space and be on the same spot, which for him is harder. He admittedly has tried to do this a lot more times than I have. Even as a child, his mother had him doing it, which is not super great, and wasn't done super healthy. But this is, I think, the healthiest way of doing it for him, and we are tailoring a lot of things because of how his brain works. We are really, like, everything I have read says that getting minimum 30 grams of protein into an ADHD person as soon as possible in the morning helps with their brain, and then exercise helps them tremendously. Exercise, strength training, it helps so much. It helps them so much. Everything I've read says that it is so good for a brain that functions like that. So I'm trying really hard to help him get to that spot so that he can be at the same level as me, obviously, but also so he can feel the benefits I'm feeling. So he can feel the fucking confidence, and he can stop looking in the mirror and not liking himself, kind of thing. And so he can kind of kick the anxiety in the ass. And because when you have confidence, the anxiety is kind of quiet. The anxiety monster is kind of quiet. So that's my hope. That is the plan. My hope is that next month, when I report back to you guys, I will be in the 240s. Hopefully, I would really like to get into the 240s really bad. So we will see where the next few weeks leads me. Hopefully I'll have more projects finished. Hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully I'll have more, maybe some recipes. I don't know. Hopefully I'll report on this sourdough, of course. I'll report how that went. So I think that's about all I've got for you guys. I talked about everything. I'm gonna be up late. Dang, that's for sure. Oh my god. But yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys today. Guys. Again, thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. Welcome to 2026 and a whole new year. I'm kind of gonna try and live by the whole thing of new year, same Marissa, less filter, I guess. I don't know. Like, I'm hoping this year's better. At least for internally, I'm hoping this year is better. I know the outside world is scary. Outside world is really scary, guys. But I hope all of you are doing well. Please leave me comments down below. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye.